Spoiler alert, the following podcast includes discussions on film that may potentially, intentionally or inadvertently, reveal plot twists, character traits, story details, up to and including endings that might otherwise be considered spoilers. Proceed at your own risk.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
I don't care. I will die for your love.
Come on, move your hands!
I love you.
Move that hand!
I love you. What you looking at?
It all sounds like some bad movie.
Hello? Hello there.
Huh? What?
Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yeah, you there?
Yeah, what's
okay,
up?
Cool. Hey, what's going on?
Not much. So
there we go. Now I'm in the frame.
frame it.
It came with the frame.
So, the Burbs.
Hans Christian Andersen. Oh, that's a wonderful Christian name.
Welcome to Moviesucktastic episode 183.
That's right.
Joey's challenge to me, The Last American Virgin.
Yeah, and the challenge, the way the challenge worked is the character from It. This could be the prequel to It Follows. This movie, like for real. This is like the high school years of It Follows.
Actually, I think this is the prequel to Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, but we'll get to that later.
yeah, with the ladies of the night and
There's just there's some deep psychological damage taking place in this film. But anyway, go ahead.
But no, it's the way the challenge worked was Scott challenged me to It Follows, and I challenged him to this film because the main character, the girl Jay, one of her friends from that she grew up with, I forget his name, but he just is in love with her, and you could tell he's in love with her, and longing is a word I would use. Very much the only thing I could think of watching that film. He looks like this fucking guy from this movie, and it's like the same subplot where it's like he's after her, he's in love with her, he'll do anything for her. Yeah. I'm gonna make everything better. Can I help you? Which is exactly what this guy is in this movie, to a fucking T. Right, in rewatching it, it really confirmed that I made the right choice challenging this to you based on that thematic element.
Sure, I'll give you that. I do feel the need to underline that in It Follows, which I did not like.
Correct.
The character that's fawning over the lead female comes off as a very sad, pathetic, homely individual, right. Whereas our hero Gary in The Last American Virgin comes off as more of a creepy, disturbed, borderline sociopath.
Yes, but he does look, when he's around her, he's just got nothing but the puppy dog sad face.
There's that one. No, that's not a puppy dog sad face. That's
he doesn't have that kind. He doesn't have that kind of a face. But
yeah, that's
what he's shooting for.
That's the if I get you in a dark alley, you're in trouble. Look, that's the look he keeps giving her. No.
They were holed up for a whole week in the same house, and she didn't. Her head didn't end up in the freezer.
That's because she gave into the fantasy and let him. We'll get into that. Now,
but do they not look creepily alike? Like even down to almost the hairstyle.
The
two of them.
But the hairstyle, I don't think they look alike. I think their attitude was alike. I mean, they're both skinny. I mean, I'll give you that.
I think they look a lot alike.
Okay.
I think I might have to do like what I did with what's her face from Times Square, Robin, what's her face, and the chick from Death Proof. Where I said they looked alike and you disagreed, and then I put the picture together and they're almost identical.
You go ahead and do that.
I'm gonna do it because of you.
Oh, good.
Anyway, so that was my challenge to Scott based on that.
Right.
Now moving on. As soon as the film started,
wait,
what?
Before you get into the film, I just wanted to preface that.
All right, go ahead.
This is a remake of an Israeli film called Lemon Popsicle.
From the same director.
Same writer, director, and part of the Golden Globus.
This is really what kicked off Golden Globus's like empire is a word I guess we could use for that.
Well, yeah,
it really kick-started it because this is, before getting too deep into the review, this is a pretty good movie.
No,
it's a pretty good movie.
No.
I didn't say it was a great movie.
No, definitely not. Well,
all right. Okay, let me say it differently.
Okay.
Compared to what Golden Globus released, this is fucking Citizen Kane.
No, they released some good films.
Like what?
Runaway Train, Barfly.
Golden Globus did Runaway Train?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was when they were like breaking.
All right, so that's probably the best thing they ever did, ever.
Oh, so I win. Okay.
Yes, I'll give you that. Well, win's a strong word.
Well, you were saying jumping into the film, starting off in the movie.
Well, the music. I mean, if you're a fan of 80s music at all, the soundtrack to this is fantastic.
It is a good soundtrack.
But
now, yeah,
I do have problems with it.
Okay.
The problems I have with the soundtrack here is not the actual songs. I love the songs. It's the fact that they're recycled like 3 times. I've never seen that in a movie before.
Well, they can't afford, a huge library. They're paying.
They got 20. It says right in the trailer there's 23 hit songs. They could afford it. What they should have done was they should have fucking spaced them out a little better instead of using the music too much to carry the film. Which is exactly what they did.
Oh, sure, yeah. No
they used it way too much to carry the movie. And that was the big reason why songs got recycled, because they played Open Arms by Journey 3 times. 3 fucking times. That is too...
That's too much for any Journey song.
Well, I like Journey. But when they did it a second time, I was taken aback. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on here? And obviously the song fit the scene that they were using it for. But you just played this song 15 minutes ago. And they did it with 3 or 4 different songs where the songs were recycled so many times. They did it with Devo. They did it with Journey. I think they did it with that one love song where it's talking I forget how the lyrics go, but it was essentially... I'm in love with you, and you're breaking my heart, and you're with that other guy. I think they used that 3 times. I think they used it at the end credits. It just so I had a problem with that. I mean, I told myself I'd immediately take a star or a point off just for them recycling music so much. That was just my pre-thinking.
Sure.
So you didn't like this film?
I did not, and I think I don't like it based in the context of what it is. Now, one thing you just mentioned, it does take place in the 80s and has a huge 80s soundtrack. The original film takes place in the 50s, as does a number of other teen comedies, teen sex comedies that came out in the past before this and during this. 50s was a big time period for these type films. They decided to change the film to the 80s setting to get the 80s soundtrack in there. Must be the 80s music was making a comeback in soundtracks at that time. However, I don't think anybody told set design or costume or makeup
Yeah, because everything else is modern day.
Everything else is modern day except their fucking hair and their styles and like the apartments. It's like everything's out of 1958.
Right. And one thing that I did notice is they ripped off a couple of things from Porky's out of this. Mainly the one scene with the guy peeping in through into the girl's shower.
Well, now here's the thing. I have not seen the original Lemon Popsicle, so I can't really speak to if they ripped anything off from Porky's. Porky's.
Oh, you think Porky's might have ripped it off from that? Because Lemon Popsicle came out in '79, I think.
78, I believe.
78?
Yeah, 78. Yeah, now, is it possible that Porky's... Now, the scenes are totally different. I mean, it's not like anything happens in this that happens in Porky's, which I think...
It's totally different.
Porky's is obviously a far superior film.
Oh, of course.
Porky's is... I think Porky's is a good movie. I think in like storytelling and everything up into and including how it handles the sex comedy.
I would think Porky's 3 is better than this.
What? Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Now, it's interesting you mentioned that because one thing that this film is the plot's the exact same. So interestingly enough, I think I should point out that a film that came out in the same year, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, obviously stole the storyline about the girl getting knocked up by the guy,
right?
And then the guy that's always goading after helps her with the abortion.
Yep.
Now, unlike Lemon Popsicle or Last American Virgin, he gets the girl after paying for abortion in Fast Time, which I think is only fair.
And you know what's interesting? Even the price of the abortion in both films are almost identical too. It was $250 in this movie, and I believe it was $200 or $250 in Fast Times.
Well, same year, I'm sure that was the going rate for abortions at that point.
You're right. It's like someone got a hold of each other's script.
The only thing that bothered me about the abortion scene where he takes her to the clinic, I understand the whole thing, it's impersonal and stuff. Yeah, maybe it is like that. I've never gone through that. But when he comes back and pays her the money, she like has her elbows on the desk. She just like opens it up and counts it in front of him, like folds it out.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, and she's like staring at the money. It's like, did they play it a bit too much that like abortionists are like money hungry?
Well, I loved when she was talking to her before. She says, there could have been things you could have done to prevent this before that, those few moments of pleasure. It's like, whoa, lady.
And this is
she
why
feels bad enough that you're going to vacuum out a kid out of her vagina. Or not her vagina, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's probably how they're going in, yeah. But
they're going in that way, but that's not where it's coming out. Anyway, not that I would know any of that because I don't.
But I mean, that whole scene is a perfect example of why we need Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
But
30 years later.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there.
No.
So yeah, there is a lot of overlap, and again, you go back. It's not like they're doing anything different. Teen comedies like this were around in the 70s. I mean, American Graffiti to less of an extent because it was less of a sex comedy. But I mean, that jumps to mind when you see like Pseudo's 50s time period. Summer of 42, which wasn't necessarily a comedy, but all this. I mean, you could throw a rock and you'll hit a teen sex comedy in the 70s going into the 80s.
Sure. Oh,
and this is even before direct-to-video revolution with shit like Snowballs and Joystick and shit like that.
Right.
Or they may even be sooner. I'm not an expert on teen sex comedies, oddly enough. But yeah, it's hard not to compare this film to like Fast Times and Porky's all coming out the same period. And the only thing this doesn't have that those have is any kind of charm whatsoever. There's nothing.
Yeah, no, there really is. There is not one likable person in this film either. Everyone is very hateable.
You're correct in that, but I think it's in. Now, one thing I won't say is I won't say that the characters didn't have distinct personalities. I thought they managed to pull that across, but they don't. But they don't have. It's not. There's nothing. There's nothing that engages the viewer. They're really just there to carry on the series of scenes and jokes, and a lot of them aren't even like funny. Like they put, it's almost like they're trying to be true to life. And at some points, like, you know what? I don't want to know what true to life is when 3 kids buy a hooker. I would rather have,
and then promptly get crabs.
Yeah, I'd rather have the Porky's thing where they turn it into a huge prank. That's, well, good. Let's have some fun with this shit.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just that awkward silence as the one kid's humping in the room and the other 2 are watching. It's like, oh, geez. Yeah, this is uncomfortable for me, and thank you for sharing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and then the sexual scene, the situations that are up. I mean, some of those scenes have that kind of Summer of 42 feel, but without. But in Summer of 42, there's like a lot more going on. It's much more sympathetic or dramatic, and for a teen sex comedy that has stuff like the measuring the boys' penises in the locker room, probably the most disturbing scene in that film. Thank you.
Yeah, the fact that the entire men's room, they were lined up, and there was like zero issue with taking a ruler and just 3 inches, this, that. Oh my God, Victor! Yeah, it's just come on. It was pretty. I was uncomfortable. Now, I'm like, what the fuck?
I would like to point out a series of issues with Gary that lead me to believe that he's the next Ted Bundy.
Okay.
All right. First of all, he has this weird fascination with sex, but he's also afraid of it. Every time there's a situation that he wants. That he's constantly leering at women, but then when he actually gets opportunity of women like throwing themselves at him, the woman he delivered the pizza to, or the other girls that want to hang out with them or do them and stuff, he's always repulsed by them because he has this idea of this one perfect girl that he keeps following around like a sick dog.
Right. That is true. Well, when he delivers the pizza, he could have totally banged the living shit out of her, then go get his friends.
And also, whenever there's a situation where he's going to get involved sexually, he brings his male friends along. It's like, this hot housewife all alone wants to have sex with the pizza boy. Let me go back and get the guys. What? Okay. Any other situation, it's like it's the guys have to be involved.
Right.
When there's actual chance of sex, when there's not chances of sex, and then he to the point where the girl that he's got the hots for, he actually follows his friend and spies on them having sex when they finally do at the ballpark. Yeah, I mean, that's creepy enough. Then I'm assuming he volunteers to measure everybody's penises for the tool contest.
Well, he's the one doing it, but yeah.
And he's giddy about it.
Oh, yeah. He's totally into it.
Now, I'm not saying that means that he's a sick, twisted individual, but for a supposed raging heterosexual who's trying at every chance to have sex, he seems much more comfortable handling guys than he does handling girls.
Yeah, it seems that way. Sure.
So there's a confusion. I'm not saying he's homosexual. I'm saying there's a confusion sexually wise where he's not comfortable with all this stuff.
Or you're just reading way too much into it.
I can't help it because the guy's fucking creepy. And maybe that's why she senses this after spending a week with him. It's like, yeah, maybe I'm better off with the asshole because at least
knocked me up.
Because at least he, at least I can read him. This guy's like so, and let's talk about. Oh, let me flock to your defense and like sell shit and steal shit to pay for your abortion when I really have little or nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? In his defense, before that happened, he tried to talk her down, saying he's his friend. It's just the way he is. He'll come around. He was just really trying to calm her down. And at that moment, it really sounded like if they got back together, he would just go back to his brooding, like, oh my God, I love her so much ways. But he would have been fine with it.
But look, I mean, and this girl in a moment of weakness, like, takes this comfort from him, but after a whole week of him making breakfast for her and shit, it's like, yeah, this is a bit, what's the word? Clingy as hell?
Yeah, clingy.
And after a week of that, clingy. Clingy is a word. Oh, yes.
It's a good word.
Ask Mare if clingy is a word. She'll tell you. That's a word.
Are you trying to say something?
No, I'm saying ask any woman if clingy is a word, and they will tell you. That's a word.
I wasn't contesting that it wasn't a word. I actually
And
said
look-
it was a good word.
Oh, I thought you said. Is that a word? Never mind. And
No.
after the week of like that, all of a sudden he's spending more money. That I don't know. Maybe he rolled a drifter at this point and
Yeah.
buys.
How did he get
buys
80
her-
more dollars?
Did
He
they
had to
show-
borrow 100 from his boss to pay for the abortion, and then the next scene he's got $80 to go buy a locket.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did he get the extra 80?
I forget. Did he say what the engraving was?
With love, Karen with love.
Yeah.
To Karen
soon.
with love.
Yeah.
To Karen with love. Yeah, and he's
soon.
calling her his girlfriend right after that, and
Yeah.
I think it was the same week. Might even been the next day.
It was soon. Yeah. No, it was the same week. It was probably the next day because she said she's having a birthday party on Saturday while they were there. So it was. There was no.
That's right.
There was
It's like,
there's no stretch of time between. Okay, we're done with the abortion weekend. To let's go to your birthday party and I'll propose to you or whatever the fuck he was planning on doing. I just. Yeah. So this idea he's got this like visual this like almost delusional idea of the perfect love, but he really can't connect physically or emotionally with anybody. He's more he has to like worship this person, and that
Right.
nothing pushes most people away than worshiping them because it's just creepy weird, and he's creepy weird.
creepy weird.
Now, so I mean that's my take on him. I just think that he's gonna he might as well drive that car right to like a side street and pick up a prostitute and kill them and just keep driving. That's the end of the movie. It rolls right into
Drives into their house.
like that. That's like the next movie after that is that one with Charlie Sheen where his friend starts like takes him on a killing spree. The Boys Next Door. That's it. It goes from the Last American Virgin to The Boys Next Door to Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. That's the track. There's no stopping.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Now, are there any? You mentioned the locker room. Well, we both mentioned the locker room scene where they're measuring penises.
Yeah, which was just done, by the way. It's literally just done.
Oh, man. I find interesting. You can kind of tell that this movie is
It's kind of strung together.
well, there's a slight cultural.
I mean, there is. There is a plot to the film, and it is strung together, but it just seems like it's like insert gag, music, plot.
Oh, sure.
Gag,
Yeah.
music, plot. I mean, that's kind of like the way it's pieced together throughout the whole thing until you get to the very end, the climax. So,
Yeah, now-
when I said earlier, I go, it's a pretty good film. I stand by that. I listen, it's an 80s film. I kind of have a soft spot for all of them. But I still think it's a pretty decent film, or pretty good film is the word I used. I'd watch it again. I remember watching it a lot when I was a kid, and I really liked it then. I found myself not liking it as much as when I was a kid, but I found myself still enjoying the movie. It will go in my collection. I won't get rid of it.
I will.
I'll keep it.
Now, the one scene there is a bit of a cultural
Let's put it this way.
barrier.
I'm not going to fight you on the score.
Okay. There's a weird cultural barrier because it is an Israeli film and an Israeli writer-director brought to America. So, the fact that they couldn't get the 80s right with the 50s thing might be part of that.
Maybe.
One glaring thing that I think, and I don't know what the origin of this is, but it has to have something to do with being like raised in Israel as opposed to like any other like Western culture. When he goes to visit her in the hospital after she has the abortion, he brings her a fir tree and a bag of oranges. That's
Well,
If that-
she's got to get her vitamins. She's got to get her vitamin C in there. And the fir tree, in his defense, I don't know if it was
No.
Christmas time, but you
No.
see it in his grandmother's house decorated with Christmas lights and everything on it.
oh, then what's with the fucking oranges?
I can only defend the fir tree. I can't listen, maybe she loves orange juice, fresh squeezed only. I don't know.
I think it's a Jewish thing that I'm not privy to.
Maybe.
I think it's got to be. It's the only explanation I can think of.
And maybe they just snuck that in there, just to just sneak it in.
I think they originally he literally just like photocopied the screenplay from the original to this and changed it around a bit, and that just ended up staying in, and nobody blinked. It was like, yeah, he wants oranges, get him oranges. He's an asshole. What do you want?
Well, it does take place in California. They do have some great oranges out there. I don't know.
I don't know if they worship them like that though, where it's a get well present. I don't think oranges have replaced the bouquet of flowers. I mean,
probably. Well, no,
I'm guessing
fir tree and oranges. It is a weird combination.
I did like the first like date scene where they lured the three girls to their house with promise of drugs.
Yeah, and they gave them sweet and low.
Sweet and low instead of cocaine.
For cocaine instead of cocaine. And they didn't know the difference because they've never done it. They're just trying to be cool.
And again, on a human level, I like the idea that they're portraying that it's all these kids are all completely inexperienced, but all trying so hard to become adults so fast that they're no one's willing to admit, I have no idea what the fuck cocaine's supposed to do to you, or no one's willing to admit it. No one's willing to admit it themselves. But again, in a teen sex comedy, I don't know if I want that kind of awkwardness in it. I think I'd rather have brashness and vulgarity. At least it carries it on. There's one scene that I rewrote while I was watching it in particular.
Okay. Which one was that?
When whiny bitch Gary gets drunk at the party because the girl he's obsessed with is making out with his friend.
Does this involve him driving home at some point? What happens to him after he drives home drunk?
Yeah, because he's slamming drunk, so his friend, of course, takes him to his car and lets him drive home because what are friends for?
Well, I mean, friends don't let friends drive. Friends don't let friends drive drunk. Probably happened after this movie.
And so he gets home and his parents are having a nice social gathering, and they introduce him to their friends and tell him to say hi. And he's drunk off his ass, of course. So the one thing is, the one woman says, "I think you need a cold shower," and he says, "Only if it's with you, Mrs. Krabappel," or whatever the hell her name was. I don't mean to put the Simpsons in there. And he, kind of like a ha, I'll take you. I know what you want. And he does it, and there's a shock. And then he sings to her for a bit and leaves. And okay, it's barely shocking.
Oh yeah.
And all I could help think was if this was like Porky's or something a bit more sophisticated, which is weird to say.
that would have came to fruition. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not even it didn't have to, but instead of just him standing there awkwardly while everyone's staring at him, I would have had him actually sitting down with the parents' friends and hitting on her over the course of the evening.
Yeah, sure.
It's can I get you a drink, Miss Wilson? Miss Edgars, can I get you a cocktail? Just right. Even rubbing her shoulders out of nowhere, pull a George Bush on her. Just that to me would have been 10 times funnier, and everybody trying to half ignore him. And then then you could decide what's funnier, whether she actually takes him up on it and they find him in the bathroom or something, or if it's just the progression to the point where everyone's just numbed from it. But I thought that would have been a lot funnier, and it's if I'm writing the scenes funnier in my head than what I'm watching on the screen, that's really 2 knocks against you.
Yeah, I actually thought that I didn't rewrite the scene as much as you did, but I'm saying, okay, at what point does he puke on somebody, or at what point does he actually go through with trying to get Mrs. Whatever Crabapple in bed or something?
I want him to be sitting next to her on the couch while they're discussing maybe it's a book club or something, and him just feeding her olives, and she's not asking him to.
Where did you get these olives? Don't worry about it. Just go with it.
Just drink. Just dragging his finger across her lips. Just play it out.
It'd be funny if it was olive stuffed with blue cheese, and he's pulling the blue cheese out with his finger, and smearing it on her face.
Yes, you see, you're going with it. Even
take it one step too far. Yeah.
I mean, the film almost, and it feels like this in a lot of spots where it almost feels like they get to that point and then they realize, oh shit, okay, and we got him drunk in front of all his parents' friends. What do we do now? I don't know. That's funny, right? But now what do we do?
Right. Yeah, and he ends up just dropping a tray of glasses.
Oh yeah, take this tray. My obviously drunk son, take this tray of glasses into the kitchen for me. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and when they set that up, I'm like, okay, at what point does he drop that? Or I said to myself, are they going to go... Because there's a couple of abrupt scenes where, in the film, where things happen, and then the scene just ends. Like, nothing happens. Like, when they steal Victor's car, and they go out a night on the town, and they end up at the beach, and the car ends up in the water, and they're all frolicking in the water, and it just cuts to Victor going, bunch of assholes. And then it goes right to the next scene, like, next day in school. It's like, wait a minute. Is that car just now at the bottom of the ocean? Did they get it out? Like, what happened?
I'm waiting for the next scene where they're all being handcuffed because Victor's not an idiot. He called the fucking cops and reported stolen 10 minutes later.
Right. But no, he's sitting on the curb with like 11 Coca-Colas because they told him to get Coke for the rum.
Yeah. And again, it's weird for me. When American Pie came out, I mean, I looked past the sex with the pie part, and I always said that film really had a lot going for it. Even the two sequels I thought were decent, where that they
I didn't mind them. I thought they were okay.
No, I thought they were good. I thought they were... I always consider them remakes, a remake or a reboot of Porky's without actually saying so.
Right.
And that just the whole, just as far as like
although if I have anything against either of those films, I thought Stifler was over the top in both of the sequels.
Sure, I mean, but there's going to be. I don't have.
Other than that, I thought they were good. I mean, but he was just like, okay, you're an asshole. We know that, but how can you be the biggest asshole ever? And it just was a little too much, you know. Like in the third film, where he's like not breaks into the house, but he kind of crashes the party and just starts making like noises and like grabbing cake and eating it with his hands. Like, come on, really? Anyway.
Right. So, I mean, comparing this to stuff like that, which I think really have, great screen structure, great characterization, great dialogue, and they also, like Porky's, this is the exact same thing you're talking about, set up joke, except it flows.
Yeah.
It feels like a movie.
Porky's is one of my favorite films, or favorite comedies, I should say that, not favorite movies.
It's right up there. Yeah.
It's up there. It's great.
And I'm not a Fast Times at Ridgemont High fan. But even that is superior to this in a lot of ways. And maybe it's because, again, this is a low budget exploitation film, remake of a low budget exploitation film. I don't know why my expectations are so high.
Well, you got to remember too, I mean, at the time, this was the kind of film that was being made every spring and summer, or being released. It was the thing to do. Teen sex comedy, teen sex comedy. It was, that's it. So they were churning them out. It's very much like what they do nowadays, or like it never stopped. But it's, once they get a topic or a genre of film that's actually successful, you'll see fucking 10 of them.
Sure, that's why that's why we're still doing found footage horror films.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to fucking end.
Keep waiting, sir. Gallows 2, I think, is coming out.
Well, you know what it is? They're cheap. They're really cheap, and nothing loses money anymore. So they'll make them forever. There's always going to be an audience for it, and they'll churn them out for $500,000 or $1 million, and just in sales and rentals and VOD, it'll make 5 times that. It'll always be a profitable.
I'll take 10 of those over one Jurassic World, but that's just me. Yeah. But all I'm saying is, you are correct. This is the kind of thing that was coming out every year, and especially more so when video rentals became a major thing. But my point is, with that, a lot of them were being done better. And considering the fact that this was a remake of a film from 4 years previous, they had a lot of time to improve the quality, and they didn't.
No. Well, it's just Menem Golan, and Golan Globus. That's just what they did. Right. But with that said, I still think this is one of the better films that they've made.
Oh, no.
Other than Runaway Train, which I really didn't realize was a Golan Globus film, what other films do they have that's better than this?
I would watch He-Man Masters of the Universe again over this.
Stop.
I would.
No. Listen, the reason why I'm going to disagree with you on that is I watched the cartoon religiously as a child. I had the action figures. I loved the show. I went to the movies. I went to the theater. Hold on.
Are you really going to compare the cartoon to the movie?
No. What I'm saying is, can I finish?
I'm waiting.
You're not. You're sitting there judging.
I'm sitting quietly looking at you. Continue.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, because I was so big into it, any film that they made, if it wasn't perfect, to me, was going to suck. And that film was so fucking bad. There's being such a fan of the cartoon and having all the action figures and just being a kid, that movie being made probably 5 years too late. It just. No, sorry. I'd watch this over He-Man.
I'd watch that Chuck Norris film over this one, Golden Globus.
Missing Action? Delta Force?
No, Delta Force. I would watch Delta Force over this one. Yes, that's how far I'm going.
Yeah, wasn't Delta Force directed by Menem Golan?
I believe. I don't remember.
If I remember from the documentary Electric Boogaloo, it was.
Not because this film is bad, but because this film is just...
They're two different types of movies, too, so...
Well, obviously. But what I'm saying is this film is completely uninspiring and boring. And there's like... it's not bad enough to be bad good. It's just kind of annoying.
I wonder if I can still get the soundtrack to this film.
You know what's even more annoying? Just pick up any 80s compilation. I'm sure that's the soundtrack.
You could probably piece the soundtrack together just from any greatest hits you might have accumulated through the years.
That was kind of the.
I guess I said the same thing you did, but different.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
The most annoying thing is that the only person in this film that I can spot that did anything besides Brian Peck, who was Scuzz in Return of the Living Dead, is Diane Franklin, who went on to be one of the princesses in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and was the French girl from Better Off Dead.
There you go.
So the whole film, I'm thinking, I could be watching Better Off Dead. I really could. Gee, Ricky, I'm sorry your mom exploded. It's just...
yeah, she didn't do much after that, though.
Not really. Not TV stuff. Just like the lead.
I wonder why, though. I mean, she was...
Creepy Gary. He's played by Lawrence...
Obviously popular.
Lawrence Monason? I cannot pronounce his last name.
But Monason.
Whatever. After this, he went on to play a bit part in Friday the 13th 4, the final chapter.
Uh-huh.
Then did, I think he played a bit character in Mask, and after that was, all TV, too. Everybody else kind of faded away. Brian Peck's been in some good stuff, but really, Return of the Living Dead was,
What about the guy, Troy from Goonies? The guy that knocked up the girl.
Yeah, but that's it. Troy. That's it.
Was that it? He didn't do anything else after that?
Not that I saw. I mean, if you could correct me on that one, but I'm pretty sure all I saw was Goonies and then...
Is he still alive?
You know what? Because I think it's the only film I've ever seen where you could say, oh, look, it's Troy from Goonies. I've never said that before.
But
that's a good sign.
He did that 5 years later. Or Goonies is 3 years later. He did Goonies in 85. So, yeah. Diane Franklin, Brian Peck. What did Brian Peck do again? He's got to be in his 50s.
He was the guy with the yellow mohawk in Return of the Living Dead, Scuzz.
Oh, that's right.
And he's done some other stuff, too. He's been in other films since then. Again, mostly secondary characters, bit parts, that kind of stuff. I was trying to look how old that guy is. He was born in 58.
Steve Anton is his name.
Yeah, he was born in 58. So he's already in his 20s when he's in this one. He
hasn't done anything since 1998.
Except rewatch The Goonies.
And crying into a paper towel.
Oh, he was in the Survival Quest. I never saw that.
Goonies. Today, out of nowhere, I just thought of that I don't own my science project.
Oh, I don't think I do either.
I'm I got to get that if it's available. I think it is on Blu. I don't know if it's on Blu-ray yet. I might have to just get the DVD.
The fact that we're now talking about other films means that the review is over.
It's done. What else is there to say? I mean,
I do not have my science project to see. No, there really isn't much to say. Again, I mean, if given the choice to watch this film again, I would say, well, can we watch Porky's instead, or even Fast Times? But it's just there's nothing original here compared to any other film happening the same time period.
Right.
And if anything here is original, it was already ripped off from the first film for Fast Times.
Yeah, it seems that way. That's for sure.
Yeah. So that's all I got to say about that. Rating wise, I really wouldn't give it more than a 5.
Yeah, I think a 5. I would give it a 6 if the music wasn't recycled so much.
And it really bugged you.
It fucking bugged the shit out of me. I love music, and there's a lot of great music in this movie, but the fact that they're reusing the same songs over and over and over, it takes me out. I rely on music. In a weak film, you can rely on music to help move it along, and that's exactly what they did in this, and they were using great music to do it. And I'm surprised that this film actually made it out on the Blu-ray. They didn't have any of the copyright issues that a lot of other films still have to this day, like The Wildlife and what Heavy Metal and Fast Times had for a long time. They had all these music right issues, and then it took years for them to even come out, after Laserdisc and VHS to even DVD. And The Wildlife it hasn't even made it to DVD because it's been in copyright forever. That's a film that when it gets released, it'll go right from Laserdisc straight to whatever the medium we're using, whether it be Blu-ray or something new.
So it'll go from that to something else.
I'm just saying that's how large the gap is. Don't be a dick. That's how large the gap is, and the copyright issue is for it.
Maybe it's because those other films, they were pulling from a larger library, where this really lower end film was just pretty much the most common available, cheapest songs. Journey, Devo. Come on,
they're great songs.
I'm not saying some of the soundtrack's not good, but I'm just saying that they're probably more readily available songs that don't have a lot of contested soundtrack issues. They're not bouncing around a bit. These are like your catalog, your studio catalog songs.
And that might be true. And that might be true. But the artists that they did use in this were pretty fucking big. Blondie, Cars, the Police. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
pretty fucking big artists.
But also very common to an extent. I don't know.
Copyright's copyright. Whether it's some fucking nobody band or some top band, which is mostly the soundtrack.
Since I don't know anything about music, I really have nothing else to add to that except all I can see is like a long shot of a back of a couch in the back of your head and a television, and all you hear in the distance is, they're playing that Journey song again! Third time! The hands wave up. That's the third time! Just shaking it.
I didn't say it out loud because I watch it myself. I mean...
That's what makes it better. That makes me seem better. Motherfucker, that's like the 4. That's 4. 4 Journey.
You didn't notice that they recycled music that bad?
I did not. No.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, that just goes to show that Scott likes music, but could probably live without it.
You know what, too? Like,
whereas I'm the complete opposite. I really love music.
The thing is, 3 songs in, I'm like, okay, this is a soundtrack movie. I can ignore the music for the rest of the film because I know they're going to be playing a different 80s song every 10.5 minutes.
And that's almost true.
Yeah, so that's it. It's like I'm not even paying attention anymore. Every day, Devo, great.
Yeah, that's all. Almost true.
Maybe if the film had more to grab my attention, I might have cared.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we watched Venom, I was like, "What's with this opening soundtrack? That doesn't fit the film." So yeah, I do notice music in films, but in this case, it's okay. They're just going to squeeze this shit in wherever they can. It's not adding anything to the film whatsoever. Right. So, yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't go 4 stars because I don't think it's poorly written. I just think it's blandly written.
Oh yeah, no, 4 stars. Yeah,
I'd say 5.
This is an average movie.
Very agonizingly average.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so that's 5 stars. demographic. There's only like 5,000 user reviews.
Is that it? Oh yeah,
That's it. Oh, Jesus Christ!
What?
This is odd. All right. Now, to be fair, the average review for under 18 is 5.8. The average male review under 18 is 6.0.
Okay.
The average under 18 female is 8.5. But only 3 males under 18 have reviewed this film, and only 2 girls under 18 have reviewed it. So I think that kind of skews the average a bit.
A little bit.
Everybody else that was like old enough to either be used to this kind of film already or grew up, when this was out, it's averaged like six, and right across the board. If you're 45 or older, you gave this film an average of 5.9. Male, female, doesn't matter. 5.9. And apparently, 2 IMDb staff rated this film 4. Fucking snobs. Fucking IMDb snobs.
Snobs. So 5 it is.
5 it is. Already done.
All right.
I think we're done. I think this is a nice, tight little episode.
I think so too. Scott and I are gonna go kill things online.
Yeah.
I think that'll be fun. We haven't figured out what we're gonna do yet, though.
Doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
Kill.
All right. All right, everybody. Episode 183 of Moviesucktastic. As always, thank you for joining us. All right, go to our website at moviesucktastic.com. I changed all the backgrounds. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes, I did.
I kept a couple. I kept the Jim Cotta one, and I kept the Creepshow one because I love that one so much. But I put like 6 brand new ones, and I like them. They look good. Anyway, that really has nothing to do with what I'm saying. But you can go to our website and you can listen to the show live every week, every Thursday, and you can see the new backgrounds every week, 8 o'clock Thursdays, except for next week, the week after that. You can listen to the show live that way, or you can download the show anytime you want. They're all there. You can download the show right to your favorite iPod, MP3 device, whatever you use, your phone, doesn't matter. You can go to iTunes.com and you can download the show or listen to the show right there as well. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/moviesucktastic. You can go to our Tumblr page at moviesucktastic.tumblr.com, which I see Scott is starting to update. You can also leave us voicemail.
You don't have to say it like that.
Scott's updating the Tumblr. It's awesome. Is that better?
But much better.
Not much better.
Oh, Scott finally got around to doing that. That really doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't help.
Well, it's not like I said, "Hey, Scott, I'm still waiting for those audio bookends that we've been talking about for probably a year."
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. That's why I don't have them. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. 908-514-4470. If you want to leave us an email, the address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. You can also download the free Android app for your phone, tablet, phablet, whatever you want to call it.
Don't call it app.
Yeah, and you can also, pretty soon, I will be doing the mobile version of the site for all you iPhone users.
So I hear.
Yeah, I keep saying it. I know. It won't take as long as the audio book ends, but you know. You know what I found funny, real quick? The scene where they see the hooker. Everyone gets naked in this movie except the hooker. Did you notice that? I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen everyone's tits except the hookers.
She's classy, that's why.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
she gave everyone crabs, but
classy, not clean.
Well, you know. All right, everybody. Do you have any wisdom for us, Scott?
I love you.
That's not even from this review.
It doesn't matter. It's in my head now. I can't shake it. There's
Okay.
nothing quotable from this film. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind.
No, exactly.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Well, maybe.
Yeah,
We're not,
soon.
but
Next
it's just
episode.
what I say. It's what I say every week. God damn it.
Next episode, we'll talk to you.
Yeah. All right. Bye bye.
See, you let the music run out.
Just be quiet, and it'll be. See. Shh.
No.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
No.
You can't.
No.
No, I know.
I love you.